Alright, this is the fourth set between Fantasy and Calm, and now we've very abruptly been thrown into a high-stakes situation because Calm, having gotten 2 wins in this series already, is 1 game away from moving into his first OSL Finals, which is ridiculous. Of course, this is not his first OSL Semifinal. He's made it up here to this position before, so he's been working at this a long time. But 1 game away after that 4-pull gambit. Absolutely ridiculous. He seems to be channeling Jaedong at the moment too, just like twitching like Jaedong. Yeah, that's what I imagine Jaedong to be saying most of the time, just sitting in bed, getting up at 3 a.m. to pee. Okay, here we go. This could be the 4th set, possibly the deciding set. If Calm takes it, he's moving into the finals. Alright, here we go. Fantasy fanboys, you better hold your hands so Goku can form the spirit ball or whatever. Hey, I'm making DBZ references now. As I said, I should have been doing for the last couple of years. But here we go. Clap your hands if you believe. Pathfinder's the map. Except down at the 8 o'clock position in yellow is Fantasy. That means down at the 5 o'clock in blue is Calm. Now let's see if Calm has studied Jaedong's play very well. He's going for another 4-pull or something. Oh, he is! Oh, yes! I was totally kidding there, but he's actually going for another 4-pull. Oh, ridiculous. Oh, I'm sorry. I really wish I had had my pop filter there, because I'm sure I just destroyed the microphone, but why do they keep showing the Brain Zerg posters when he goes for a 4-pull? I can't believe he's going for another 4-pull. God, talk about copying Jaedong. This is exactly what Jaedong did in the final against Flash. This series is so awesome. And now Fantasy's going for almost the exact same thing as he did in the last set. He's going to wall into his natural expansion again. Let's see if Fantasy learned a bit from that last set about where to position his SCVs and whatnot, if he'll be prepared for this or not. Calm could take this thing with 2 4-pulls in a row. Easily. He could definitely just take this because Fantasy's not going to have his barracks up until the same time as it was in the last set. And the last set was on Gladiator, which is a much bigger map than this. And plus, it was 4-player, harder to scout, harder to get your Lings over as quickly as you possibly can. But the Zerglings are coming. The barracks just now starting for Fantasy. Oh, I am on the edge of my seat right now. Calm knows where Fantasy is now. He scouted. This is only a 3-player map with the mains very close together. So scouting up at the 12 o'clock, now Calm knows where Fantasy is. And we're going to see the Zerglings push the front again. And will Fantasy have what it takes to fight this back? He's building his refinery again, another early refinery, as he has done for every game in this series so far. So he's definitely prepared an early refinery build for everything, but I don't think he's going to have Marines in time to fight this back. The barracks is going to barely get up in time, but he has done a complete wall-in. I don't think the Zerglings are going to be able to break through. As long as he can get a Marine out, Fantasy might be okay. He's in a better position than in this game as he was in the last game, but just now pumping. Oh, now he knows about the Zerglings. He's got to get in there and repair. He's pulling all of his SCVs off the line to repair that complete wall-in. This is a complete wall-in for Fantasy. He is going to have to repair, doing his best to oh, he can't repair because he wasn't able to finish up the supply depot, but now he has 1 Marine out, 1 Marine to fight back all of these Zerglings. He's got to hold. Come on, Fantasy's got to hold, but he loses his Marine at the front. There are 3 or 4 Zerglings to grind down the SCV count. Now Fantasy has pulled some more SCVs just to block that tiny choke so he can get out his Marine. The Marine's still there, but the Marine's going to go down again, I think. Oh, Fantasy loses his second Marine, but he has gotten rid of the Zerglings. He has taken down all of the Zerglings, so he actually holds, barely holds this. and he lost some SCVs in the process, but he's going to have way more mining units than Calm was going to have. So I'd say that Fantasy is in a better position in this game, fighting back the second 4-pull of the series. Oh, man. So Calm, I don't know what Calm's plan is going to be. It's going to have to be something very creative because Fantasy has this game now, unless he does something really bizarre and out of left field. Maybe a drop strategy or something. I'd say that's probably the most logical thing that Calm could do following up another 4-pull. But Fantasy does have plenty of SCVs left. He lost quite a few, but not. He says, as I said before, he has way more miners than Calm has. But now my legs are going 100 miles per hour because I can't wait to see how these guys follow up from that very unorthodox opening. But Fantasy holding the front. He has some Marines out there, plenty of Marines to hold the line as far as the Zerglings go. But he's going to have to go out and scout pretty quickly because Calm has a lot of options about what he could do from this point on. And it looks like he is following the same logic that Jadong did in the finals. He's going to expand, which is very risky, but if you can get it done, you can fight back the Terran player pretty easily. So he is completely droning up, putting down his second base, so he's going to try to macro up and out-macro Fantasy eventually. But Fantasy getting up his factory, so he might be able to get this done with a single Vulture, because there's not going to be much for Calm once that factory pops up and the first Vulture comes out. I don't even think the second base is going to be done in time to put a creep colony on it. So Fantasy can just completely sneak by that into the main and just snipe drones until the cows come home. Man, that was a stupid saying, but yeah, you could definitely do that. The second hatchery coming up. Now, of course, there's the first Vulture on the way for Fantasy. He's building a starport. Of course, that's pretty common for Terran players to go straight for starport on this map against Zerg, because you need some kind of air build. You need to do something air-related, either a drop or a 2-port Wraith on this map to make use of the maneuverability. You need some maneuverability between the mains. Since the mains are so close together, it's always good to go for a drop strategy or something. And that could be what Fantasy's planning, going for drops instead of Wraiths as he did in a couple of games back. Of course, he didn't have to deal with that 4-pull opening the last time, but let's see if the Vulture can sneak by the creep colony being built. But I don't think it's going to morph into a sunken colony in time. No, it's not. So Fantasy coming in here is going to try to snipe these Zerglings. He saw one Zergling on the high ground, barely saw it out of the fog of war. But Calm is doing a great job fending off this Vulture, though. But 2 Vultures in, but they're not going to last too long against a sunken colony, and the sunken's going to pop up and save Calm in this game. I think Wraiths is Fantasy actually going for Wraiths yet again, as he did in the second set. So Fantasy committing to his unusual strategy, even after fending this off, but he's got to get his Vultures out of there. He loses 1 Vulture. But with his Vulture control, I think he might be able to take down the rest of the Zerglings if he can focus, keep out of the range of the sunken. Oh, he did not keep out of range of the sunken colony, but he is going for the exact same build as he did in the second set, even off of that unorthodox opening. And now this game is kind of evened up a bit, although I'd say that Fantasy definitely still has the advantage just because of how many miners he had. Mining units he had off of this. He hasn't built his second base, though, and I think that could end up hurting him if Calm completely saturates his natural expansion or something. But Calm has no anti-air, no means of anti-air. He's just now building his Hydralisk in, so he's going to lose quite a few drones. He's morphing into a creep colony there just to save that 1 drone. He's got to do that for the rest of these drones, too, otherwise they're all going to die, because Fantasy going to snipe quite a few before the first Hydralisk pop. So Fantasy going straight for that control tower again. I don't see the cloak being researched this time by Fantasy, though, so he might be going to something different, playing the mind games on Calm a bit. Of course, Calm is trying to play those mind games, too. Two 4-pulls in a row, so Jadong-esque. But there is a drone taking the second extractor. So Fantasy very smartly moving out at this time, and I think that Calm probably scouted that. Yeah, he did, because he's building another creep colony at the front, going to morph that into another sunken. But other than the sunken colony, there's not much else to protect that natural expansion from Calm, so this is absolutely ridiculous. Now Fantasy has floated down all of his barracks. He has that going. Science facility already, so he can go straight into science vessels. to deal with lurkers and whatnot, because lurkers are on the way for Calm. He's going for lurkers. A dropship out for Fantasies. He's probably going to ferry all of his medic marines inside of the main to snipe all those important tech buildings. This is a lot like what Haya used on this map, just that epic dropship strategy. What does he have in this dropship? Does he have... I don't know what he has. Yeah, does he have anything in this dropship? He's pushing through at the front, and Calm is, I think it was a fake drop. He doesn't have anything in that dropship. So it's a fake drop from Fantasy as he's pushing the front at the same time. Calm, he canceled one of his creep colonies. That could have been a brilliant play there from Fantasy just to make Calm cancel that creep colony or whatever he was morphing in the front. Pretty sure it was another sunken colony he was trying to get up. But Calm, all he has are Hydralisks to fight this back. He's trying to focus in on the medics, take those down, so he can use these Hydralisks. Hydralisks are not very good against medic marines, as you might imagine, even from the high ground position, position like that. But there are still medics in here, and Fantasy is trying to focus fire on this hatchery, actually. He has it down the red, but he's not going to be able to take it down. So Fantasy floating in with it. Oh, he actually has something in the dropship this time. Dropping some Marines. I don't see any medics, though, from Fantasy inside of this main. Of course, he doesn't really need it against Hydralisks. You don't need medics that much against Hydralisks, because the Marines just destroy Hydras like nobody's business. And now... Fantasy. This is a bizarre series. This is one of the most bizarre Terran... Physics lab! We're gonna see battle cruisers. One base battle cruisers from Fantasy? Are you kidding me? Does he have a second... I don't know if he does not have a second base. This is one base battle cruisers from Fantasy. Just as I said, this series was wacky. The wackiness factor just jumped up like 100%. Because we're gonna see... battle cruisers for Fantasy. I don't see the Yamato upgrade, as the observers are pointing out, researching just yet, but Fantasy. You never cease to amaze me. And I hope this doesn't hurt Fantasy, because he's still working off of one base. Battle cruisers cost a lot of minerals, a lot of gas. So going for battle cruisers is kind of a risk, but battle cruisers are an extremely strong unit. And for Terran against Zerg, it's basically just a way to lock down a game. I've seen Firebat Hero use battle cruisers very effectively, but that's only because he got them in late game as a means of locking down the game. It's like when you're winning, it's just a guarantee that you're going to win. And there's not really any way that a Zerg player can come back after battle cruisers are out there, because if you have enough battle cruisers, they can snipe Scourge easily. So the Scourge can't take them out. You're basically relying on Hydralisks, and if you have medic marines supporting that, oh man. The Zergling's gonna see it. Is the Zergling gonna see this? I want to see Calm's face. Show Calm's face after this. The battle cruiser sniping the Zergling, and now Fantasy is making his way to the natural expansion. There are no sunken colonies. Look at Calm's face. He's like, yeah, giving the smirk there. He knows there's a battle cruiser out in the field now. But Calm, all he has are Hydralisks, and the Hydralisks are not going to help him. He needs lurkers right now to fight back the medic marines, and he needs Hydras to deal with the battle cruisers too. And he's coming in with a dropship at the same time. So I think the Fantasy's going to drop at the exact same time that he pushes the front. He's scanning the front. The battle cruiser might actually go down pretty quickly, since there are a lot of Hydralisks there holding the front. But with these tanks here, if they get in the siege position, yes, they are in the siege position now. So Calm is moving out with all of his drones from the natural expansion, coming out with his Hydralisks as well. The dancing battle cruiser from Fantasy, he's dropping inside the main too. GG. Wow. I don't even know what to say after that. That was just humiliation from Fantasy. I've never seen Fantasy go for that kind of a BM strategy before. He was totally dancing that battle cruiser in BM too. Bad manners. But well, talk about a back and forth series. This is the definition of back and forth. And now we're going on to the 5th set between these guys. I want to see more BCs. Let's move on to the 5th set.